And I was like, what is it? And they said it's subcutaneous paniculitis T-cell lymphoma. And then they said it's stage 4 rare blood cancer. And my mom was just standing next to me on the right side. And I could see tears rolling her eyes listening to the word that you have cancer.
So, how did your cancer diagnosis happen? Did you go through any symptoms?
There's a lot of research happening, and I am the living proof. I survived stage 4 cancer, and my doctors are still feeling that it's a milestone, it's a miracle that happened. That's what my focus is, to educate, to spread awareness among people about cancer, and also break the stigma around South Asian community. I just felt that my life flipped upside down at the age of 32.
So, this is so heavy. How difficult it must have been for you, your family, and everyone.
Oh yeah. Losing hair, losing eyebrows. It's like losing your own identity as a woman. You feel naked. Stem cell transplant was the worst nightmare. And I don't want to go back there.
Today's episode is a heavy one, emotionally and mentally. While recording this, I had a really hard time just listening to the parts of the story and holding back my tears. Hello and welcome back to the Neha Joke podcast. Our today's guest is Harjeet Kaur, who is a cancer survivor and is here to share what it's really like to go through cancer treatment. The pain, the fear, and the strength with everything in between. She's opening up to help spread awareness and break the stigma, especially in our South Asian community where we often don't talk about these things. This episode is for anyone touched by cancer directly or indirectly, or anyone who wants to understand the power of resilience. Please watch this episode till the end, and I hope it leaves you with a little more empathy and awareness. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so, as it really means a lot and helps me bring more real conversations like these to you. So without any further ado, let's dive right in with Harjeet Kaur.
Hello, Harjeet. Welcome to today's episode. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Hi Nia, thanks for having me today. My name is Harjeet Kaur. I am born and brought up in India. I moved here in 2018 and currently I'm a patient advocate. I advocate for those patients who can't speak for themselves. I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor. I'm also a creator. My background was never this before.
Right.
I was into sales and marketing previously. Before this, I used to work with Edmonton Chamber of Commerce in Edmonton. And when cancer happened, things just changed for me. And now this is what it is. I have turned my pain into purpose. I talk about my journey through my social media, through my Instagram platform. I have collaborated with a couple of Canadian organizations like Canadian Cancer Society and Lymphoma Leukemia Society. And that's what it is. Right now, that's what my focus is, to educate, to spread awareness among people about cancer and also break the stigma around South Asian community.
That's some amazing work that you have been doing, and I follow you on Instagram. It's very raw and real. So that's the beauty of what you're doing, for people to connect. But let's go a little back. Before coming to Canada, you also lived in other countries. Can you give us a little more?
So I actually moved when I was 20. I'm born and brought up in Kanpur. My family is in Kanpur. But I moved to United Kingdom, England, for my further studies in 2009. And I moved there and then I studied, I worked there. I stayed there for 6 years. And that's how I met my husband. I met him over there. And the plan was to stay there, but things didn't work out. So we moved back to India. I got married in 2013. And we stayed in India. My husband's family stays in Gurgaon. Now they were in Noida at that time, and now they're in Gurgaon. So we were in Gurgaon living, but we were not so happy, because after living outside, for 6 years on that young age, when you were in your 20s, you somehow don't connect very well when you move back to India. So it was not easy for us at that time, and we were struggling, I think, with jobs and with future and with everything. And that's how it just happened, I was working with a company in India, in Gurgaon, and they offered me a job in Dubai. And I took that offer, and that's how we moved to Dubai back in 2016. And my husband has been chef all his life, so he got a job in Dubai too. And we were happy in Dubai. And when we were working in Dubai, we always wanted to move to Canada, thinking of, that stability, that
Right.
life, a quality of life, having a family, having a house, just to settle permanently. And that's what we thought of doing. And all of a sudden in 2017, he got a job offer from Edmonton, Fionn McCool, and it was through work permit, and he took that. So he moved in 2017, and then I had to wind up everything in Dubai, and I moved here in 2018.
2018.
So, yeah.
And you also had work permit at that time? Were
So
you
I
working?
was dependent on his work visa, but I found a job as I moved to Canada. I found a job at Edmonton Chamber of Commerce, but I was still on that
Dependent visa.
Yeah, dependent
Okay.
visa.
So how did your cancer diagnosis happen? Did you go through any symptoms?
So in 2018, everything was fine. We were happy, in this new country. We were not happy with the city, Edmonton, because all of a sudden coming from Dubai to Edmonton was a shock to us. But we have very close friends. They are like family in Calgary, and we used to come up down a lot. But in 2019, May 2019, it was end of May, I started having fevers. I was coming back from work and I was not feeling well, so I lied down. I woke up and I had high fevers of 39 to 40 degrees Celsius. My husband used to work late shifts because of chef, the hospitality industry. So he came home late and he saw me and he was like, "You have fever?" I was like, "Yeah." And then, as usual, you go to a family doctor. So next day we went to see our family doctor and she prescribed Tylenol over the counter, and we took that. But weeks passed by with that high fever. I had fevers for 1 week and there was no answer why it was happening. I was asked to take Tylenol, take care, take rest, and stay hydrated. So I could not go for work. But after a week, it was never stopping. And all of a sudden, I blacked out in the washroom. And I felt, and I had all the bleeding around the mouth. And I woke up, and my husband was really worried, and he took me to the emergency. And
So he was there home.
he was there at home at that time, and he took me to the emergency, and we went there. We waited for 7 hours at the emergency. I had high fevers, I was bleeding, and they checked me in and they said that, Harjeet, you just have fevers, you don't have any other symptoms, so it's better to take Tylenol, go home and rest. Happened. Again, weeks passed by and we went to see our family doctor, and we insisted her to do some other test. She did a blood work. It came negative. There was nothing, any difference in my blood work. And similarly, weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks would just pass by, and I was on Tylenol cutting down my fever. I had fever ranging from 38 to 42 degrees Celsius. There were times we used to end up in emergency because of that high fever. And whenever I used to go to emergency, they were like, "Wait for 7 hours, go in, check in, and you don't have any symptoms, just go home, take Tylenol."
But even after being going through fever for so many weeks, there are no other tests they could do?
No. So she did a blood work test and we advocated a lot. She was a nice doctor. She was a family doctor back in Edmonton. And then finally after we insisted a lot, she actually referred us to infectious disease specialist at University of Alberta Hospital. And we went to see him. And the strange part is he also did the same thing. He said, your blood work looks fine. You don't have any other symptoms. It's just fever. It can be viral or a flu. Sometimes viral takes 2 months, 3 months. So I would recommend you to go home and keep a track of your fever and take Tylenol as, to cut down the fever. You won't believe, I prepared an Excel sheet to put my fevers, because there were times I used to get fevers and chills together, and my husband was working at that time, and I didn't had any energy to get up and do something. I was completely in my bed. I was with a high fever. I was having chills. Luckily we were very near to his workplace. It was 7 minutes from his workplace. So he used to come down, feed me, and then go back to work. And I used to have chills, so I could not get up from the bed. So this episode was keep on going. And then finally, when we connected with our family doctor back home in India, they told us that, ask them to do lumbar puncture, ask them to do these tests. And we went and we asked them that, can we get this done? Can we get the CT scan done? And at that moment, there was no paid services. Right now, you can get all these scans paid, but that time it was not there. And they said, I'm sorry, but there's no other symptom. We can't just do a CT scan or something like that. And we really pushed hard, advocated. My husband advocated a lot. And luckily, the doctor assistant, he was Indian. And he listened to us and he was like, I'll speak to them. And my husband was like, if you're not doing anything, I'd rather take her back to India because you guys are not capable enough to do anything.
This is your family doctor?
This was the infectious disease specialist.
Okay.
Family doctor actually did her job. She referred me to the infectious disease specialist at University of Alberta Hospital. And from there, it was their role to do that. So that all happened. And finally, they did the CT scan in June. And report came after 5 days. They called me and they said, but they called my husband because I was not in a condition to do anything. I was in high fever. I was having chills. And he said that Harjeet needs to get admitted to the hospital. And we need to do some extensive tests and scans because her CT scan shows some activity, but we don't know what it is. So June 2019 until September 2019, I was in hospital.
Okay, I just want to ask, because the timelines of getting an appointment for CT scan could be crazy. So when did you book an appointment? And
so
when
they booked my appointment when we fought, when we advocated.
In which month and year?
They booked in June.
June 20?
Yeah, 2019. It was mid or first week of June, after fighting and advocating a lot that get some tests done, get some scans done, or my husband was like, I'll just take her back to India because you guys are not, we have to fight when it comes to our health.
Definitely.
Especially in Canada because there's a lot of delays in the system. So they did the CT scan. The CT scan result came after 5 days. They asked my husband to bring me to the hospital. So they admitted me to the hospital in June 2019. Until September 2019. So I was in hospital for almost 2.5, 3 months. I was tested as a research patient. I had endless biopsies, endless surgeries, endless scans. I was so exhausted and tired. My body started swelling up. I could not eat anything. I had ulcers. So it was the worst time because they were not able to see anything. My body was not showing any other symptoms apart from chills and fevers. It started swelling up, so doctors were not sure what is happening. And when I got all these surgeries, and I had breast biopsy, I had bone marrow biopsy, I had laparoscopy, colonoscopy, I had, you name it, I had it. And I was so exhausted, and Anshul, my husband, was so exhausted that we had to reach out to our family back home to come and, help us because we're in a country where we have to do everything by ourselves. And he used to work, he used to come to the hospital, take care of me because there were episodes where I used to black out in hospitals and he used to fight to get the nurse to me. He used to make sure that there is full-time nurse with me if I'm going to washroom, if I'm doing anything, because there have been episodes where I fell in the washroom when I was alone. So all this happened and we finally gave up. My mom came here and we used to send all the reports to India, every single report. And doctors were aware that, we are doing this, and we used to send all the reports to India. And in August, first week around or second week around, we thought of going back because it was 2 months. There was no answers. My body was giving up. I was exhausted. It was so overwhelming for everyone to take care of me. My brother was in BC. He moved a few months back in Edmonton. So it was too much for everyone to take care of. And the best thing was to just take me back to India and see what is happening. So at that time, when we planned of moving back to India, one of the doctors came in and he said that one last biopsy we need to do. So I was like, what is it? And they're like, skin punch biopsy. So I was not ready for it. And
what is it?
It's a biopsy. It's basically biopsy, something they go deep down and they take out the tissue and test it for cancer or any kind of tumor. They have previously done a breast biopsy. They have done my bone marrow biopsy, but nothing came out on that. So this was the last resort for them to see. And I was not ready for it. So my husband spoke to my family doctors back home in India and they said, just get it done. And after that, just bring her back home. So they did the biopsy and we were about to get discharged. Everything was, paper was getting ready. I had like this much file of papers for my test reports and everything. And my husband was talking to my family doctor in Edmonton how we can take her because she's having high fevers, fevers were ranging from 41 to 42 degrees Celsius. She's having chills. Her body is all swelled up. How can we take her back to India for 24 hours flight? We have to plan the things accordingly. So he was talking to my family doctor at that time, and all of a sudden my mom was packing everything and we were getting discharged, and the doctors rushed into the room, and they just said that we got the results, we got the prognosis, and we would like you to stay. Please don't go back to India. And I was like, what is it? And they said it's subcutaneous paniculitis T-cell lymphoma. And I had that phase where I had no idea what were they talking about. Like, I had no idea what is subcutaneous paniculitis and what is it exactly. And then they said it's stage 4 rare blood cancer. And at that moment, my whole body was numb, and my mom was just standing next to me on the right side, and I could see tears rolling her eyes, listening to the word that you have cancer. And I could not react, honestly, Neha. It was that situation. Like, I still get goosebumps when I go back to that time and I think how they told me about it. And they said that we just want you to stay and we need to start the treatment because it's stage 4, it's progressing, and you might not have much time left. So we need to start the treatment ASAP. And at that moment, I was numb. I was shocked. I could not react. I could not cry even, because I felt if I cry or if I melt down right now, it'll be very difficult for me to manage my mom in that room. And I called my husband and I told him, you need to come back. We got the diagnosis and stuff. And I didn't want to tell him on phone, honestly. Yeah. So he came, he rushed back, and they told him. And the first question was how much time I have. And they said, we need to start the treatment right now. And in our mind, it was like, all of a sudden, why now? When we are planning to go back to India, everything was prepared. And right now, for 3 months, you didn't had any diagnosis. And what is now? So they said that this is the report. And if you want, you can share it with your family doctors. So we said we need to speak to our family doctors back home in India, but it was 3:00 over here, so they were sleeping. So we asked them, can we have this night just to, have a second opinion and stuff like that? And we did that. So at night, 8 or 9 o'clock, we reached out to our family doctor back home in India. My mama is a doctor. Okay. My bua is a doctor. My bua is in London. My mama is in India. And Anshul, my husband's mama, was also in India. He passed away during COVID. So we sent all the reports to them. And the first thing they said is, keep her there and start the treatment. There's no time that you should bring her back, because it will take time for us to, do all the testing and stuff and diagnosis. So it's better to start the treatment there. She's in a right place, because over there they have more research around rare type of blood cancers, and the type of her case is very rare. She has a rare blood cancer. So they all recommended us to stay here and get the treatment started. So it all started on 28th of August, 2019. And I was there in hospital for my first and second chemo. And the most difficult challenge was to reach out to my family, my dad back home in India.
So it's just your mom was here?
My mom was here. My mom was here to support us, but the diagnosis came she landed on, I don't remember, she landed second week of August, and the diagnosis was the third week of August.
So this is so heavy. How difficult it must have been for you, your family, and everyone. So when you got admitted in June, you were there in the hospital up until September, until after your chemo.
Yeah, like first chemo happened in hospital. They kept me for second chemo as well, because I still used to get fevers. My fevers never stopped.
Okay.
After chemo also, they never stopped. So my case was very rare. They said that it's hardly 150 cases reported globally, and they don't have anyone in Canada.
Oh.
So my case was complicated with the other condition called HLH. So I had blood cancer plus HLH. HLH is an autoimmune disease. So as they were giving chemo to kill my cancer cells, the HLH condition was making it worse. So HLH condition is basically they eat your good cells in the body. So the chemo, as they were giving me chemo to kill my cancer cells, the HLH condition was making it more worse by eating those good cells.
Oh.
So this happened, but I came back home in September. My dad flew before my second chemo. It was it was very difficult to tell him, to express him that this was it is. And I think that part my mom and my husband took. They told our family members, they told my close friends, and they did that job because I was not in that zone where I could speak to anyone. I just felt that my life flipped upside down at the age of 32.
You were 32?
Yeah, I was 32 and I had dreams of settling down, having a family, having a career, but it all shattered at that time. So I was not in that zone where I could speak to anyone. And I never spoke to anyone at that time.
Right. Yeah, it is difficult. It's like so heavy. I'm not able to ask questions. But so when your husband and your mother asked doctor, what did doctor say? How much time you had?
So at that moment, they just said that we need to start the treatment ASAP.
They didn't
and
say
we'll
anything.
see how
Okay.
it goes. Because I was stage 4 already and it was rare. So my oncologist and the team, they just wanted to try their best to treat me.
Okay.
So there was no timeline.
No. Okay.
They just said that they are trying their best to treat me and they don't know what will happen.
And your treatment was going on in Edmonton?
In Edmonton. So I had my treatment at University of Alberta Hospital and the Cross Cancer Institute in Edmonton.
And how many chemotherapies you had to
So I
go
had
through?
every 3 weeks one chemo until December. And in November, I had my PET CT scan again because they wanted to check how
Chemo
much
is
it
working.
is affecting and how how is it progressing. So I had my PET scan in November, and I remember the day oncologists called us and told us that I was in a room sitting with oncologist along with my husband, and he said, "Harjeet, what's your appetite?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to live. I'm done." And I just had tears and I was like, "I'm done. I want to live." He's like, "I just have 2 options for you. One, we keep on giving you chemo, but we don't know how will it go, how your body will take it. Second, we can do a stem cell transplant, which will give you a little life longer, probably 2, 3, 4, 5, we don't know." So that was his words. And I had no idea what was stem cell transplant. So we asked him, and he's like, "We look for a donor. And if a donor is matched, we basically do a stem cell transplant on you. So it's like your immune system will be completely compromised and killed, and you'll be given a new cells of a donor." And they asked me if I have a sibling, and I said yes. And I told my younger brother is here. And they said, "So if he's ready, we would be happy to do some test on him to see if you are compatible and a match." So that happened, and I went home. I was shocked, and I literally went home and I closed my door, and I cried. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just felt it's over. We are just trying our best to treat me, and there's nothing left, and it's just done. At that moment, I just didn't want to talk to anyone, and I used to cry when I used to be alone, but I never cried in front of anyone because I always wanted to have that strong face in front of them because cancer doesn't affect you, it affects the whole family.
Exactly.
And at that moment, I had those days where I used to feel alone. I used to feel that it's all over, my life is just finished, and I used to think about so many things at that time. What if I die? What if I'm not here? What will happen to my family, to my husband? So all those thoughts did came to my mind, but I never used to express it to anyone. And it was all me who used to take it by myself. I used to cry when I was in hospital alone, when I used to be in the washroom alone or in the room alone, but never in front of everyone. And yeah, so this happened. I went out of the room, and the decision was made. Everybody was like, "We'll do stem cell transplant." They spoke to my family doctors back home in India, and everybody said that we need to do a stem cell transplant. So this might give her, a life back. So that happened. I came out of the room, and the decision was made. As we South Asian families, they don't
Yeah.
ask, they just
They just
plan and
yeah.
they just make the decision. So we came out, and my brother next day went for some test, and then we got a call after a week or so that he's 100% match, and that's very rare. Not a lot of stem cell transplant patients have 100% match donor. So that was the plan. So initial plan was to keep on giving me chemos, every 3 weeks so that I can come to partial remission. So partial remission is that most of your cancer cells are, killed and you are ready to get to a new treatment plan. So until December, they did the chemo. And at that moment, Neha, I felt that I stopped having my periods. And I questioned this to my doctor. And he was like, I'm sorry, Harjeet, but you were so sick that, we didn't have much time to talk about your fertility, your eggs, preservation and stuff. And I was like, now what? And they referred me to a fertility specialist in December 2019. I went to see her and she said, all the tests were done. And she said, I'm sorry, Harjeet, but you had a fertility loss and your ovaries are not working properly because you've been given a high dose of chemo. And now you're going for a stem cell transplant, which is another very aggressive treatment. So, but I'm sorry to say that you've been thrown into early menopause at this age and we can't do anything about it.
So if they would have spoken to you earlier about this, was there a chance that your
I spoke to them about this. They didn't spoke to me because I was so sick and my condition was so sick at that time that they had no choice. I did had a bit of fight after this with my husband that why you didn't spoke to me or why no one spoke to me about it. And he was like, our goal was to save you first. That was our priority. And that was the priority of doctors too, to save you rather than thinking about this. But that is huge. That is a grief I still take, that I can't be a mother. And I'm thrown into that early menopause at the age of 32, which I don't know what it looks like. Now I know because I'm on systematic hormone therapy treatments, I'm on pills to, work on my hormones. But at that moment, I had no idea. So that happened in December and February. So March was the plan to get my stem cell transplant, to have me into partial remission until February and March. And then they'll plan to do a stem cell transplant in March. So January, I was having chemo, and because it was December, New Year's, and January first week, I started having, problem in my right eye vision. I was watching TV and I could see that I cannot see anything like clearly. And I told my husband, he's like, we'll, check. I called the triage line. I called the emergency line. No one picked up because it was New Year's and stuff. And it was so frustrating because I could not connect to my oncologist. I could not connect to the triage line. I had to end up going to emergency the next morning because when I woke up, I felt that I can't see anything.
From both your eyes?
From my right eye. We rushed to the emergency and we waited for 4-5 hours there. And they said that the ophthalmologist, the eye specialist, will come and see you. And he saw me and he looked at my eye and he said, it looks like that your lymphoma, the blood cancer, has gone to your eye. And we need to do a biopsy of the eye. So they did a biopsy of my eye. And after 4-5 days, we got a result saying that it's not cancer, but it is CMV retinitis. So it's a virus which is active on my right eye. Due to that, I am having this vision problem. And this is the side effects of the chemo and the medication I was taking, because my system was so immunocompromised that I got that infection and it has damaged the back side of the retina of my eye. So I can't see from my right eye.
Even now, no, it is not corrected?
No. There's no vision on my right eye. So they had to treat that virus along with my chemotherapy. So Jan and Feb was the most difficult time because I had chemo. I had injections in my right eye every week. They used to put injections on my right eye so that it doesn't go to my left eye. I was on very aggressive chemo. They changed the regimen because they wanted me to put into partial remission. So February is the month where it's my birthday, it's my anniversary, it's my mom's birthday. It was not an easy time for us at that time. And thankfully, I had my close friends from Calgary who used to visit me all the time. There were a few friends who visited me from UK and US, my college friends. My school friend came from Toronto to see me during the treatment. So I had that support with me all the time. But there was a lot of silence around cancer. We never talked about what we were feeling mentally, physically. It was so exhausting, socially and financially. It was too much going on at that
Right.
time. But thankfully, I had that support. My parents were here from India. They stayed here for a longer time just to take care of me. So this all happened, and March was the plan to do a stem cell transplant in Calgary. And so there is a bone marrow transplant clinic in Calgary. It's a big facility over here, and they reached out. They told us that we need to come to Calgary in March to talk about what stem cell transplant will look like and what are the side effects, what will happen, and how it will work. So we all went. My dad, my mom, my brother, my husband. We all went. We sat on the conference table, kind of a room, and doctor was explaining us how the stem cell transplant will be. And she explained us that there would be non-stop 7 days of chemo. Like for earlier it was 3 weeks,
3
and now
weeks.
it will be 7 days of chemo and radiation to kill her immune system. So we have to make sure that there is zero cells in her body so that we can give her brother
New cell.
cell to her. And sometime the body rejects the new cell. So that could lead to GVHD, which is a life-threatening disease. And also there might be a chance of 20 to 30% of death. And in that case, we will inform you. So all that conversation happened in that room, and I could see everyone, face listening to it, but in mind and every it was scary. It was
Obviously.
scary, and I could feel that thing in their faces that they are scared, and I am shit scared too.
Yeah.
But I can't express, and I can see them. They're all are scared. That happened. We went back to Edmonton. All of a sudden, we got a call on 18th of May. COVID happened, a global pandemic, and they let us know when can they admit me to the hospital. And if they do, there's no family members allowed. No one can see me. No one can be there for me. And they let us know. And after a few days, I got fevers. I used to get fevers back and forth. And they said that we need to check her for COVID. So they did test COVID. It was negative. It was some kind of viral or a flu, but they gave me medication for that. And then finally, I got a call in March end that 6th of April 2020, Harjeet will have her stem cell transplant. But she needs to come to a hospital. She'll be staying in hospital by herself for 30 to 40 days, depending on her treatment, depending on her condition. There's no family, there's no visitor policy, so no one can see her. You can talk to her on phone. The doctors can be connected on phone or FaceTime, but you can't come and see her. We let you know if there is a kind of emergency. If there is something, we let you know. So that was the talk we had. And 6th of April 2020, we all came to Calgary. We stayed at our friend's place. My parents stayed at her place. And they dropped me to the hospital on 6th of April 2020. And honestly, I thought I'll never come back. I hugged them, and I felt that this is the last time I'm seeing them. Probably I'm not coming from that place, because all this time I had that support. I had people around me. I had everyone to feed me, to take care of me, to be there for me, just that presence of holding someone. And, but now it's me who have to do all by myself, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it. So at that moment, I really felt that I might not come back. And I hugged them, and I went down to the room, and they prepped my room, and I put all the pictures of my family and everybody in the room, and I showed them the room and all. First day was good, but then next day the plan was to give me chemo. So initially when they started giving me chemo, first day, second day was okay, but then it went worse. I could not eat anything. I was in pain. I had painkiller pumps, opioids, painkiller pump, which used to help me with the pain. I could not eat. I had mucositis in my mouth, which I was not able to eat anything. So they put me on feeding tube because I could not eat anything. I was on oxygen tube. So those 32 days, I was fighting for my life every single day.
And it is so difficult when you don't have family around, and especially during pandemic.
It was not easy. I was literally fighting for my life every single day.
That must make you so grateful for this.
I'm blessed that
right
I
now.
got this second life, and I always celebrate 14th of April because that was the day when my brother's stem cell was given to me. at the hospital. And I remember nurses wished me happy rebirthday. And till now, I celebrate that day. And I just completed my 5 years on this 14th of April, 2025. And I feel that I was so blessed that I have this second life, because I've seen people losing this battle, even with stage 1 or stage 2. And coming from a stage 4 cancer patient to stem cell transplant to COVID, I made it so far. And I think I'm so blessed that, I believe in God, and I'm a Sardarni, I'm a Sikh by culture. So I used to listen to Sukhmani Sahib Path all the time during that phase. And I think God just gave me this life, probably to do something about it. And that's how I am doing. I feel I have this life, so I have to make it purposeful for others, for other people who can't help themselves, or who can't be the voice for themselves. And most of the people suffer in silence during cancer, and especially young adults, because young adults, their life is completely changed.
Yeah.
And no one talks about how it affects them mentally.
We have been talking a lot about, mostly it affects your mental well-being. So during this entire time, from diagnosis to your stem cell transplant, were you taking any counseling sessions?
So when I was at stem cell transplant, after that I came back home after 35 days, and I was completely bedridden. My weight went down to 40 kilos. I could not walk. I could not shower. I could not change my clothes. There was nothing I could do. We rented an apartment in Calgary because they told us 100 days are very risky for patients. So we have to make sure that she's in Calgary for 100 days. So there were stairs in the apartment, and it was COVID. Everything was shut down, and my husband lost his job because of COVID. They shut down. My brother could not work because of COVID. So everybody was at home. So they used to lift me on chair and take me to the room and bring me down. So, I was completely in that zone where I had no idea. My physical appearance changed. I was going through mentally so much. Physically, I was not able to do anything. I used to see my mom taking care of a 33-year-old girl who I felt that I should have been taking care of her. So all those things were so frustrating. I was suffering in silence in that room, because no one used to come inside because of COVID. They used to make sure that, they're not giving me any kind of infection, because doctors told us any small infection could lead to death. So they had to make sure that they have to do 100% of whatever they could do. So at that moment, I started writing. I wrote a letter when I was in the hospital. So I wrote something which I felt, what if I don't go back from here? So I wrote that kind of I would say a letter or a blog, just to share with my family and my husband that how grateful I was for them for being around with me, and what if I don't make it, and how I want them to, get back to their normal life if I'm not there. And it was not easy for at that moment when I was in hospital. So I just wrote a small gesture thinking, what if I don't go back from here? I just want to tell them that how grateful I was for them. The only thing I felt was missing was a talk. We never talked about this pain.
Yeah.
We were suffering in silence, all of us. We were in pain, but we never talked. Yeah. So that thing happened again. So I went back. When I came back, I started writing about it, because there was no one who could talk to me about it, what I was going through. My parents were happy to see me. Everybody was happy to see me, that I'm back, because at that moment, they thought that I will never come back.
Yeah.
So seeing me coming back was something which they never thought. So they never wanted to talk about all this thing happened, right? So I started writing, and I met my oncologist, and I just told him that I need help. I'm struggling. I'm struggling mentally. I'm struggling physically. I can't see myself in the mirror. It's too much happening. And at that moment, he referred me to psychosocial. So I was referred to psychologist and the psychosocial straight after that.
One of the side effects, as a common person I know of chemotherapy, is losing hairs.
Oh yeah, losing hair, losing eyebrows. It's like losing your own identity as a woman. You feel naked. If you don't have hair, you just it's something which, so that there's another story behind it. So I had long hair, and so generally doctors tell you that you have to shave your head within 1 or 2 chemos because it comes out or it tangled and it's very difficult and it's paining. So I kept my hair. I didn't want it to let go my hair for 2 chemos. And I had a lot of tangled hair. I used to get a lot of headache. And the oncologist mentioned my husband that she needs to let go her hair. She can't keep her hair. And at that moment, we came back home because I belong to a Sikh culture. My dad wear turban. My mom has long hair. My brother wear turban. So I came home and I was like, I don't want to do it because I don't know how will my dad react or how will it affect them. My husband, he pulled out the chair and put it on the patio. He shaved his head first. He doesn't belong to Sikh culture, but he shaved his head, and he made me sat there and he started shaving my head. And I could see my dad moving out of the room. My mom was still there, but my dad moved out of the room and he could not see me like that. He shaved my head. We both had shaved head, egg head. And but one thing which I didn't realize at that time was that I had to cover my head all the time when I used to talk to my family back home in India. It's my grandparents or anyone, because that was one thing which was told to me by my dad, that cover your head and talk. And I kept it. I kept it at that time. But later on, when I came out of stem cell transplant, I still had bald head. And I used to move out like that. I could not move out much, but doctors asked us to move out, like go for a walk for 5 minutes. I could not walk for 5 minutes. So I used to cover my head at that time too. But with time, I realized why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
My dad, my mom, my parents need to start, accepting the fact that it is. And then I started, having my bald head. And at the first time in September 2020, I posted my story on Instagram. September 2020, yes, it was September or August 2020. Yes, I posted my journey with bald head and my complete story. And that was a shock to most of the people. They knew me because we never told everyone about this. And I was completely off from social media and everything. I never shared my story at that time. But at that moment, because I was suffering in silence and I was looking for help and I was looking for support outside my own family, because I wanted someone to connect with me who's going through the same thing. And that's how I started talking about my journey through my social media. I felt that's my digital space or digital diary. I can talk about it and probably someone out there can connect with me, or maybe going through the same, silence, and we could find support in each other. And that's how I connected with a lot of organizations online. So doctors and nurses told me that there are support groups, which is Young Adult Cancer Canada, which is specifically for young adults. Then there is Lymphoma Leukemia Society. Then there is Wellspring program. Wellspring Alberta has a free programs for cancer patients. So they do have yoga, meditation, art exercises, all these therapies they have for free for cancer patients. So I joined those programs online during COVID, and it really helped me.
When you're in this situation, when let's say you have been diagnosed, it is also difficult for people. Sometimes like people might be very sympathetic towards you. What were your expectation? What would you have liked at that time, that people openly speak about it and like?
So honestly, at that moment when everything was happening, there was a lot of support in the sense of providing me food, taking me to the hospital, taking care of my needs. But we never talked. And that hit me hard when I was at stem cell transplant, because I was going through so much that I could not express myself. That's how I started writing about my journey through my blog, because I wanted to speak about my thoughts, my experience, my pain I was going through. So I think in our culture, we don't talk about these things. We are there to support each other, no matter what. But we never talk about the mental health, the pain, the experience, and it never happened with me. I think my family never spoke about it. My husband never spoke about it. And my friends, they used to come and be there for me, but they never talked about it.
Exactly. They would try to distract you.
I think that's the thing, I think, in our culture, because one thing I have noticed throughout my journeys, people don't know what to talk.
Say, exactly.
How to speak. and how to start that conversation, because they feel maybe if we start, that other person might, not feel good in that situation. So that's a lack, of thing in our
Awareness.
awareness, because people are not aware about education, and they're not aware about cancer. In our culture, generally people think cancer is a dead end. If someone is going through cancer, that person will never come back.
Yeah.
So that's one thing which everybody has in their mind, right? So it's a talk which needs to happen, and that's what I am making it very common. While I talk about cancer openly through my social media, people know that I am very active and vocal about my journey. Not a lot of people in our community are. I don't think so. I've seen a lot of South Asian within Calgary. Like I
Yeah.
go to a lot of conferences and events in Toronto, and I don't see a lot of South Asian over there. I see myself. And that's the problem when I was going through all these events and conferences as a speaker. I felt, why it's just me in the room? Why just me, brown person in the room? And why I don't see anyone else? And that's how the initiative started of helping my own people by breaking the stigma and silence through my social media, through my Instagram, and also by creating a safe space for my people, which is Chai and Hope. So I co-founded along with a friend, she's a cancer patient too, survivor. We started a page called Chai and Hope.
Instagram page?
Yes, for
Okay.
South Asian Cancer Support Group. We started on Facebook initially. So I was speaker at one of the events in Toronto, and I was talking about the stigma around South Asian community. And because I did a lot of research and I came across a lot of people. So when I started talking about my journey on social media, on Instagram, a lot of DMs came to me saying that, why are you doing that? Hate comments, good comment.
Really?
It's bad karma. You might have done something wrong in your life. That's why you got it. And there were people who reached out to me who were going through the same thing, but they cannot talk about it. So people, especially in India, people are told that you should not talk about cancer. You should hide it from your family or from extended family. And because it's related to bad karma, it's related to your past life. And one thing I got to know recently when I went back, it's contagious. So these are all the myths around cancer, which I think I need to break that. And that's what I'm trying to do. The more I talk, the more I'm spreading awareness and education about cancer. I think it's very important to know your body. It's very important to get yourself checked. Early diagnosis is the key. People don't have family doctors in our community. People don't go for pap test. People don't go for mammogram because they are scared to know what if there is something. They're even scared to take the name, the C word. So
I'm still trying to see, like, people who are watching this video, how can they help if they know someone who's had cancer? When, like, if you go to meet someone, would it help asking them, are you scared? Are you in pain? How are you feeling right
So for
now?
me, for example, obviously I'm a cancer patient, but if I was in that situation, if there is someone who's going through diagnosis, like I connect to a lot of people now because a lot of people reach out to me that their mom is diagnosed. Can you talk to them? My friend is diagnosed. Can you talk to them? So I talk to them in the way that I listen to them, right? I listen to their story. I listen to what they are feeling. And it's okay to feel like that because cancer is it's not easy journey and people go through a lot of challenges. So the first thing is to listen to them. Before judging or coming to anything, you can support them in any ways. Cancer patients go through chemotherapy, they have to travel by themselves. I've seen people traveling alone to hospital. You can support them by giving them that support. Take them for their treatment, bring them home, give them some food, talk to them, take them for a walk. The needs, what they need exactly.
Yeah.
Listen to them. They might not feel comfortable talking because they think that you might not listen to them or you might not understand them. And that's why a lot of cancer patients connect to cancer patients. Like I have a lot of cancer friends now through the cancer world, through the cancer community, because they understand each other. They understand that what pain is one person going through. So you need to understand that pattern, right? That person is going through so much. So whatever ways you can help that person. There are people I've seen who just I don't know what the word, like they just feel disconnected. right? They just don't want to be connected to that person anymore because they feel that they don't know what I will speak, how will I speak. If I say something, might that person might not feel good. So they just disconnect. And I had that people too in my life. When I was diagnosed, I had a lot of people who just got disconnected through my life. And there were a few people who just came very close to me during this journey. So I think you just need to understand. You can't just think you can't just ask that patient, oh, how is your chemo treatment? Obviously that's not a good question to ask. Like a lot of people get, oh, you have good cancer, you don't have bad cancer.
What is good cancer?
Where you don't get chemos, where you are on oral medication. But that's still, people are going through so much. And that's very common question. Like most of our cancer organizations and community support groups get that question. Oh, you had good cancer. What is good and bad? It's cancer. There's no good and bad. Every body is different. Every side effects are different. People go through so much through that journey. And sometimes you also get, oh, you look so good. It looks like they don't have cancer. Should I just put my name
Exactly.
or get a tattoo engraved that, oh, I had cancer? So those are the things, you should speak. You should actually think before you speak.
I want to ask you some maybe deep, some personal questions. Maybe you don't want to answer, but it's up to you. But when you were going, let's say, for the stem cell transplant, and when you had that thought in your mind that maybe I'm not coming back, maybe you thought that death is very near. What were your thoughts? Like, were you scared of death? Or what were you more stressed about? How?
When I was at stem cell transplant, I was scared, shit scared. I was praying for life every single, like I used to, because I was on painkiller pumps, I had no senses. I was on painkiller pumps, I was on oxygen tube, I was on feeding tube. I was just surviving the next morning. I used to pray and, I had no idea if I would wake up tomorrow morning or not. It was like that because that was the thing. Like, I was in so much pain, the chemo, radiation. We all had no idea if I would get up in the next morning or not. So I was just praying and hoping that I could see my family next day. That hope was there and that faith in God was there. That kept me going. I was scared. Who is not scared of death? Everybody's scared of death. But I have seen death so close. And now I live my life every single day. I feel there's no tomorrow and we should not keep things for tomorrow. Or we'll see in 2 years or 2 weeks, we'll plan this, we'll do that. I feel we have to start living it for today. Life is a gift and people don't value that.
When you were out of cancer, when you were back to being you again, the stress is gone. Even your family, let's say, they're more comfortable talking now. Oh, they are happy. Did they go back?
Nothing is gone. You are not you. It's the new normal you have accepted. You have to start embracing it as a new normal. There's still stress. I still go for my PET scan every year. I still go for my 3 months blood work every year. I just got a biopsy result which came negative. But then I had to go for a surgery in September because there is some kind of nodule which is increasing, which might lead to tumor. So they have to take it out. So there's no stop to this. When you are in this cancer world, it never stops. Something or the other keeps on coming. You have long-term side effects. Yes, I'm grateful that I'm out of that place where I was at that time. But I'm not the same person I was before. This is new normal for me. And I have to start accepting it. There are challenges, there are everyday challenges which comes to my life. I'm not the same person. I have stress, I have PTSD, I have anxiety, I am on pills. It's too much happening. But it's just that the way I don't express myself. But I've started healing myself the way I'm talking. The way I talk about my journey, I feel the more I talk, the more I have healed myself through this process. But yeah, this is what it is. It's the new normal for me. It's just not the same Harjeet who was before. It's a different Harjeet. And yeah, and I have to accept. One. I think when people say that I was so strong, I feel like I didn't had a choice. I mean, being strong was the only option for me. There was no choice given to me, oh, Harjeet, you can do this or you can do that, it'll go by. No, but I didn't had any option. Being strong was the only choice I had. And there are days I grieve. There are days I melt down because I have gone through so much. I have lost so much during this journey. And there are good days and bad days in my life. There's nothing perfect. My parents are still scared. If I go for any test, they are still scared because at the mind they have this feeling again and again, what if it comes back? And that uncertainty is always there with the cancer patients. Like for us, it was told she'll have a stem cell transplant, but there might be a chance that she could get a secondary cancer within years. And I met my stem cell transplant after 5 years for a cancer retreat. And she saw me after 5 years. And she's like, Harjeet, you're a miracle. It's a milestone because we never thought that you'll make it so far. So,
Yeah. But did your family anytime, like after that, express like what were they going through when you were not here?
no, not my mom, not my dad, because they still don't want to talk about it. But they know that I'm very vocal on my social media, and my mom initially was not happy with all that. Ki nazar lag jayegi, ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega. But my husband, yes, we spoke after a year because it was too much for us. At the age of 32, we went through a lot. At that young age, we actually never seen our 30s, because 5 years were a struggle for both of us. Without him, I wouldn't have been here. Without his support, I wouldn't have been here today. But it was, so we had this conversation and he told me that he thought that I'll never come back. So we had that conversation. And till date, we speak about it because it's cancer. It can come back. I have started, changing my lifestyle. I've started doing a lot of things to make it not come back, but you never know. There's always an uncertainty.
But maybe I'm asking a technical question. How did this cancer, like, what is the reason for this cancer? Is it genetic?
So I did had my genetic testing, but it came negative. So it was not through my genetic. And it just happened. And they told, we asked them, it happened. Maybe I was a lucky person who just got cancer. So there's no reason behind my type of cancer. There are cancer who are related to genetics, and a lot of people are getting that done. And that's why it's really important for us, being a South Asian, to understand cancer is a health issue. It's a medical problem which needs to be addressed. Not knowing about cancer or not having that awareness about cancer is not a good thing, because sometimes it can be related to your genes. If your grandparents or someone has cancer, it might be possible that you will have that cancer in your life. And there are a lot of testing happening. There are genetic testing happening. There are genomic testing happening. People should know their family history and get them tested as early, because early diagnosis is the key. You don't want to get into all these, chemos and radiation and stuff if you know before.
Also, I'm assuming you would have lived a healthy life because you were raised in Kanpur.
Yeah, for me, I was never sick in my life as
even
such,
like
yeah. And it
not
just happened.
Many processed food.
No, nothing. I don't know. So that's the thing. Like nowadays, there are a lot of studies happening. Red meat, processed meat. I don't eat meat anyways. After stem cell, I have stopped eating meat. So I eat fish. I'm a pescatarian. Sometimes I eat fish. But I avoid processed food. I avoid red meat. So I have started adapting those things of a healthy lifestyle. Probably in my young 20s, when I was in London, when I was in the UK, I was eating all those things. But I don't know if that would have affected my same thing. When I asked my doctor, he's like, it could have happened to anyone. So I'm not, it's like, if you think about that, then you will never be able to live that, then you'll have this in mind that, I might have done something wrong in my past. That's why I've got it. So I don't want to think like that. But a lot of people do say like that. I get a lot of comments saying, you have done something in your life. That's why you got it, because that's the bad karma. But I don't want to get into that. And it's not a bad karma. What happens to a 1-year-old kid or 2-year-old kid if they got cancer? What they have done in their life, right? So it's just a myth. And as a South Asian, as a patient advocate, I always want to, make that very clear that we need to break that silence in our community. We need to start accepting that cancer is also a health disease like diabetes, like other diseases, right? Which is cured. There is a lot of studies happening, there's a lot of research happening, and I am the living proof. I survived stage 4 cancer, and my doctors are still like feeling that it's a milestone, it's a miracle that happened. So I am here because of them, because of the research.
Yeah, and people like you and so many other influential people who get cancer, when they are vocal about their stories, it just brings more awareness in the society. And because some of the people, they're ultra rich, and you see their lifestyle is good, they're eating like good, exercising, everything, they still get cancer. So there are so many reasons why that could
It's just the
happen.
myth around. There are healthy people who've been working out all their life and they got cancer, right? And
Yeah.
it's all, I think it's the global thing, right?
Yeah.
People are getting cancer. Every day, someone out there is getting cancer these days. It's just how you can improve your health, right? So.
But you loved Calgary and
Oh
you
yeah,
called
I
this.
mean, I moved to Calgary after my treatment because I felt there was a better hospital, there's better facility, and I'm happy with my healthcare team right now. And we always wanted to move to Vancouver or Toronto because when we moved back from Dubai, I was like, where are we? Edmonton is Edmonton, right? So
Same.
so we were in shock, but then we could not move to Vancouver and Toronto because it's obviously cancer, health issues, and financial stress and stuff like that. But I'm happy where I am right now. I'm happy with my healthcare team. I have close friends over here. I'm happy with whatever I have now. So yeah.
You also mentioned about financial stress. Usually, like, I'm not sure how much of cancer treatment is covered by your healthcare in Canada and how much you have to pay.
So a lot of so people think that it's all covered by it's a public healthcare system, but no, you have to pay for your medications. Luckily, I had my insurance. Not a lot of people have insurance, and I don't know why.
From your work?
Yeah, I had it from my work. I have lived all my life outside, right? So I always had insurance. So one thing which I wanted when I came to Canada, I started looking for a job, was I needed insurance too, and that really helped me. But I had to buy second insurance to pay for my medications, which were $2,000. I had to get those injections every week, twice, and those were $2,000 each. So I had to pay out of pocket cost. So we spend like 30,000 out of pocket cost, and I advocate for that with CCS, so Canadian Cancer Society. We go every year to Parliament Hill to talk to MPs and MLAs that why cancer treatment should be free. There should not be any medication, or people should not be stressed about the financial thing because they're already going through so much, and why financial things should be a burden on them, because nothing is free. Medications you have to pay. So I had to pay out of pocket cost. So that's why I need to make people understand that you have to have insurance. Sometimes people think, oh, we don't have any family history. We are good. We are healthy. We'll never have anything. That's why I don't need insurance. But that's not right. You never know what will happen. And so I think it's important to have insurance.
But you mentioned you had to buy a second insurance.
Yeah, because to cover my other medications too.
But were you able to get insurance even after diagnosis?
Yeah, so that insurance was through Blue Cross, Alberta Blue Cross. My doctors insisted that I should get that insurance because my medical bills and medications would be expensive after stem cell. So it really helped us. Now I'm back to one, but earlier it was two.
So it's good to know, like, even after diagnosis, you could get an insurance, because usually insurance people.
I think you can't get insurance after diagnosis because so that's something which insurance company would be able to answer. But for me, because I had insurance and they helped me, the doctors helped me getting the second insurance because I had expensive medication. So Alberta Blue Cross is government. I think that's the reason.
I'm just curious, even about your eyesight. When you say you have lost one eyesight, I'm not much educated about eyesight, but I know you need two eyes and it helps you balance and everything.
Yeah, so that's why I don't drive, as I said, because I get a lot of stress on this. I get a lot of pain over there because constantly I'm looking from my left eye, so that gives pressure to my left eye. But I'm still on follow up with my eye specialist because the virus is inactive right now. So there's a chance that it can get active. So I have to put the eye drop every day, twice, just to make sure that there is, the active, the CMV retinitis is not active. So I see my doctor every 3 months.
But do you have difficulty doing your everyday life?
I don't see anyone from this side. So I have bumped into so many people at the mall and stuff where I don't see people coming from this side, and I've with them. So those are the things, yes. And I tried driving, but I'm really scared to drive because obviously I can't see people from my right eye. So it's very tough to see a car passing by my right eye. So there are things which I can't do. And I have to make sure that I don't strain my left eye much.
So, you do a lot of talks and you meet with a lot of people now. What are some of the experience that you have had? Someone who have come to you and said, this really helped. Thank you.
So I have been doing this for almost 2 years now, where I've been going and talking and sharing my story. So a lot of people resonate with my talk, with my story. But one thing which I feel is within the South Asian community, I'm not getting that space where I can talk about this journey much because they don't want to hear the word cancer. But with my work I've been doing, I get a lot of positive feedbacks and testimonials from people online on social media that, I give them hope, I give them motivation that, life after cancer can look like this as well. So I'm happy if one person out there can get help from my journey, why not? And that's the thing I want to do. Like, that's why I have converted my pain into purpose, to help those people. If my journey can help one single person out there, then why not? And it will take time within our community, I think, because this is something which is not very much listened and, talked about. But I'm okay. I think I am taking that step toward, and I am doing that. So
Yeah, definitely. We want more advocates. Like, I don't want anyone to ever get cancer, but if you could speak and empower other people and be there, it makes a huge difference. And that's what you said you do with Chai and Hope on Instagram.
yeah, Chai and
right?
Hope is a baby, and we started talking about it because we thought we need a safe space for people like us. But it didn't do very well on Facebook, so we thought of opening an Instagram account. So we shared a couple of stories on Chai and Hope, and but the problem is not everybody is open about their journey, right? And so we now planned to do. We're starting something in August, so we are thinking of planning a live chats or podcast kind of a thing where we invite doctors, healthcare team, and workers to talk about cancer and also to talk about the stigma around cancer in our South Asian community, so that from those people they can get some knowledge and awareness.
Right.
So that's the plan.
That's really nice.
Because we just wanted to have a safe space for our peoples. We just don't want them to be suffer in silence, because a lot of people, they suffer in silence when they go through cancer.
So, are you back working full time, or this is what you're
No,
doing?
this is what I'm doing right now. I don't want to go back to my corporate life. I feel the work I've been doing as a patient advocate, as a patient partner, I would like to continue with that. And I've been involved with a lot of organizations as a patient partner and also a patient advocate. And this is all what it is. I do volunteer freelancing work too. So, yeah, I think this is what I want to. And I want to give back to my people, give back to my community by helping and providing that support.
Looking back at your journey from diagnosis, what was the worst part?
Stem cell transplant was the worst nightmare, and I don't want to go back there. And I tell my husband all the time that if something happens, I don't want to do it again. So they preserved my brother's stem cell, thinking that what if it comes back, they have to do it again. But I always tell him I don't want to do that again. It was painful. It was too much.
It is painful. And what your brother had to go through to get
So they
this?
just did. So now technology and research is so much that they did a blood transfusion. So they took out his blood, and then they had two machines who could take out the cells, stem cells, and the blood. So he was admitted in hospital for a day, and he had some injections before to boost his immune system, so they could get the good cells, and his cells were really good, and it was 100% match for me. So yeah.
So, if people who don't have siblings, what are the other options?
They look out for donor outside. So there's a platform where you look for donors. So that's one thing which a lot of South Asians are not aware about, is that there is a stem cell registry. Good people can donate their stem cells, and you never know that your cell can actually give life to someone, which we are not aware, which our people don't do, because they have this old thing that, oh, if we give our stem cell, if something happened to us or what. So I think that's very important to talk, because people who are healthy, they can donate their stem cells. And you never know, your cells could give a life to someone out there. And it happens in US a lot. And I follow one page and I'm part of their speaker bureau too. They do a lot of donations globally, and people meet every year who have donated the cell to someone and who's gone that life. I mean, it's really important to donate your cells if you can.
And it is just like a blood
It's
donation,
a blood donation,
right?
and they'll just do the other work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would definitely encourage everyone, like if you could donate your blood or stem cells, it makes a huge difference in someone else's life and so many other lives, right? Like your family, they all are
Oh yeah,
grateful.
my brother was healthy donor. Like, I'm here because of him, right? And they have preserved his cells so that they can use it again if they need it.
So, what are some of the powerful lessons that you have learned from this and you take with you?
I always tell people that never lose hope. I know it's a very rough journey, it's a very tough battle, but hope is something which will keep you going, and that kept me going. Second is to ask for help. Never go through this journey alone. There are people, there are support groups who are providing help and support. It's just a matter of fact, you need to ask for help.
Yeah, I would like, you're doing such amazing work on Instagram. So, if people who want to share or want to talk or, just volunteer, I would definitely recommend
Yeah, I'm
following
happy
you.
to talk. I do talk to a lot of people. I get a lot of DMs all the time that, can we talk to you? I have some questions. I am not a doctor. I can't question those things, but I can always guide you through the process. If you're feeling something with, after chemo, because you get a lot of side effects after chemo. You have nausea, you have fatigueness, tiredness. I would just say, listen to your body. We have to start listening to our body. And it's really important because our body tells a lot of things. So if you're feeling something which is not right, speak to your doctor, or speak to your family doctor, or ask for help. So I think that's very important. And I'm there, as I mentioned, that I am vocal about my journey, and I'm happy to talk to people and support them through their journey. So feel free to reach out to me, and the information would be mentioned anyways during the podcast. So,
Yeah. What is a message you would want to give to people who have been diagnosed with cancer or their family or friends who are watching this?
Yeah, as I said, never lose hope. That's one of my mantra I go for. There are hard days, during this journey, and with the family and friends, please show your support and love to that person who's going through diagnosis, and if listen to them, listen to what they're going through. Because it's really important. A person who's going through cancer, they have already been through so much that they need someone to speak to listen to their pain, to their experience. So I think please, listen and support. And yeah, the whole family, the cancer doesn't affect you, it affects the whole family. So I think never lose hope, and join support groups and programs that are out there. And if you are in Canada, there are a lot of support groups, and there is Wellspring Alberta programs, which is free for cancer patients and family members. So you can join that too. So
your journey is of such power and resilience and of hope, as you mentioned. It was amazing talking to you, and I hope even if one viewer
Person,
watching this is affected by this and gain something, we have done our part.
and that's my goal, is to provide that hope and resilience among others. If one person out there is listening to my story and getting that hope and motivation, that's what we want, right? That's what we want, and that's what I am here for. So yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It was amazing chatting with you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and got to learn so much. And leave a comment if you know your friend or someone who's gone through this journey. How was their experience? And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.